Hey folks, Team FYN Sports and Circuit World of Blairsville present Union Panthers Playback. I'm your host, BKP. We want to thank Domino's Pizza and Pepsi for providing the meal and the drinks. This is our last show of the season, 2018, and we have several of our seniors with us tonight, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. We've got 5 of the guys here with us on the senior class of this team, so that's what we're going to be talking about. We have head coach Coach Allison with us. We're going to talk a little bit, we're going to have Coach talk a little bit about last week's game against Rabun County, and also upcoming this Friday night, the matchup, Bremen Blue Devils will be coming to play the Panthers this Friday night. But let me introduce the guys we have on the couch now. We have number 68, left guard, Dylan Williams. Number 10, Ian Harkins, the cornerback. And we have number 24, Chad Buzzard, the running back. Coach, before we get to talking to these guys, the tough loss, 9-0, regular season's over, 9-1 on regular season. Tell us a little bit of what happened Friday night, what took place up there in Rabun in that loss Friday night.
Well, I think our guys came out and played their hardest and played against a really good football team. They, we obviously made a couple of mistakes there in the second quarter and put ourselves behind the 8 ball a little bit, but we came out on firing on all cylinders. It seems like they went for it on a 4th and 6 or so on their first drive. We stopped them, scored in 2 plays, intercepted, had it returned down to the 5, and had a penalty, called it back. I just thought our guys came out and were ready to play and did some really good things. And they kicked a punt and it downed on the 1, and it just kind of changed what I thought changed the momentum. Our Cannon was the punt returner. He had his heels on the 10. It landed on the 8, and in most fields it would have rolled in the end zone. That one, I think it's because it's a wet field. It stopped on the 1, and we just from that point on, it looked like we started searching for stuff, and we kind of lost our technique a little bit, and but once again, they're a really good football team, and hats off to them and what they have accomplished.
In many years, you obviously have seen several situations where a play or something like that punt can turn the game. Now, I was on the sideline, and number 7, is it Alex Smith? Alex Scott. I was on the sideline. I watched Alex Scott, number 7 over there, and he read that. I mean, he knew immediately, and he read that, and he took off. And a couple penalties there, changed some of the game. And then that one punt, like you said, once it landed on the 1, and your guys were trying to work out of the end zone, you were searching for some stuff to try to make things happen after that.
Yeah, and we got a situation where we were into the wind a little bit too, and it hurt our throwing situation a little bit too. So we were into the wind the second and the third quarter, and I think that probably hurt us offensively a little bit production-wise. It just seemed like our field position there halfway to 4 minutes left in the second quarter and into the third quarter, our field position was awful. And I think we started the second half without a first down on the first 2 series, and we let them score the first 2, and it was, it kind of got out of hand there in a hurry. Our guys kept battling. We scored still 2 more touchdowns in the I think in the fourth quarter we scored 2 more touchdowns, and maybe 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. And so I was proud that we kept battling, and I think our guys got out of the boat and did some really good things.
Well, they did, and you guys played. You played a great season. Season's not over. You got a game Friday night, but in the regular season, great season. But yes, I got to say, I went over and watched that good football team. That 44, 50, and 54 up front. They keep you busy, and it allows the rest of that secondary and those linebackers to get in there and shoot caps and stuff. So good football team. You guys played very well Friday night. I want to ask you guys senior night, and I told you before we started, so I don't want to hear silence. I don't want to hear crickets, okay? First of all, 2 of you have played 4 years. You've played all 4 years, and you played 4, and you played 2. First of all, talk about being on this team for 4 years as you guys have come up from freshmen to seniors, and being on this Union Panthers team.
It's a privilege because you get to meet new people and you get to do new things that you never think you could do in high school, and you get to see all the success that you get to create and that your team creates, and you just kind of create a bond that will never be broken. Like, I still talk to the seniors that were seniors my freshman year, and I think that's really cool because like most people, whenever they graduate high school, they don't want anything to do with people in their class, and it still seems like they're my best friends, and we talk on a daily basis.
How about yourself?
I think it creates a lot of friendship, a lot of team bonding, a lot of just friends you'll have for life. Meeting people and just creating a bond that really shows it on the field too.
What about with some other teammates? There's several seniors. How many total seniors you have this year?
13.
13 seniors. We're able to have 5 with us tonight. Talk about, is there something that has happened in the last 4 years that is a good story you want to tell? Now, I said before we started, I'm not with you tomorrow. I can't be of any help, so you can only go with what you think. Coach, you're not going to get in trouble. Maybe run a little extra tomorrow, but so I'm just telling you. But anything, maybe share something on Coach, maybe other coaches, but anything throughout the 4 years is something that's funny that's happened, or a story you'd like to tell. Come on, wake up. That is not a boring football team. Somebody tell me something.
There's definitely a lot of stuff that goes on. A lot of fun moments. I'd have to say my favorite is probably beating the Elbert, and just like the bus rides home, they were a lot of fun.
Bus rides are a lot of fun. I see a lot of smiles like, huh? Bus ride. That's a 3-hour bus ride. I don't know what was fun about it. That wasn't fun, Coach, but for them, they're seniors in high school, so for them it was okay.
I enjoyed it myself.
Did you enjoy it yourself? So, Coach,
After that win, I did.
After that win, that was a good ride home.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Coach, they won't talk. Tell me something about these 3 guys. Highlight these 3 young guys here.
It's a funny thing because 2 of them I've been seeing. Really, they played with rec ball with Pearson, so I've seen them grow up with Pearson since whenever they started at 6, 7, 8 years old, and Ian there, he played baseball with Pearson, so I've seen these guys grow from here to where they're at right now, and have made really good young men, and they will be quality citizens and quality people within this community. It's just really fascinating to think back to where they were, because I think Chad was a guard in rec ball years ago. Dylan, I was once a lineman, always a lineman. Not hold true for Chad, but for you it has, right? So Dylan's always been there, and I remember Ian, and when they were 8 or 9 years old, playing center field, and that long left-handed release that he had, and just remember seeing him very athletic during that time.
Coach, talk about the seniors in general. When you graduate a team, you've graduated several. Every year there has to be something different emotionally. When you graduate a group of guys that you've coached 4 years or 2 years, talk about your group this year and what it's like when you graduate these guys and they do walk through here in the next couple months.
Well, I think it's always a question mark. You're like, well, how am I going to replace this guy? How are we going to replace this guy? For the last, 5 or 6 years, going back to Joe Mancuso's senior year, we had a 15 or 16 senior player class. The year before that and the year before that, for whatever reason, there were a lot less. But in the last 5 or 6 years, it seems like each group of seniors has stepped up and fulfilled their role on this football team and done it without question. So it's just kind of like, it's just in the last 5 or 6 years we've had that senior group that stepped up and done what they're supposed to do to make this program successful.
Guys, you did step up last year, obviously juniors And this year, when you come out spring practice and you start in the weight room working out, getting into the summer, every year most of the coaches are watching to see who is going to step up, be the leadership on the team, take some control out there, keep everybody focused. Talk a little bit about that leadership you guys have had this year as seniors on the field, and like getting past that one play and saying, hey, that thing's over, and picking each other up. Just some of the things that's happened on the field between you seniors this year.
I think a great thing that we have is that we don't really look up or down on one another. We kind of play on the same level. Like, nobody's better or worse than anybody else. So I think that's great, so we can all think that we are leaders and we all can pick each other up and not think that we're not good enough to or something like that, and that we can just be there for each other whenever we need it.
When did you know you were once a lineman, always a lineman as coach? When did it settle in that this is where I'm playing?
Probably when I can't really run faster than anybody else, or
What's it?
Didn't you come out for quarterback one year, or no?
Yeah.
It was receiver. Yeah, for receiver.
Yeah, I was a little faster.
Huh? Went back to lineman pretty quick.
Yeah.
He can catch it. I remember him coming out for a receiver a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. He can catch.
Guys, you played a great game Friday night, and let me just say this before we close our first segment, get 2 more seniors in here. I've been amazed on the sideline with you guys. I've had an opportunity to watch so many of your games over the past 3 years as we followed your team, and although, like Coach said, that punt put you on the 1-yard line, and it just seems like then you were trying to just make some things happen. But you know what? Nobody treated anybody bad on the sideline. And I watch teams on Friday night. Every Friday night I go somewhere and watch a game. And I've been all over North Georgia on Friday night. And I see the same position you guys were in with Raven with that punt. And I see the sideline fall apart. And I see finger pointing. And I see things like that. And you know what? No matter where you guys were last week trying to make it happen from that point on the sideline, you never came apart. And I want to tell you, I got a lot of respect for that. And I watch that. I watch for little things like that. And you guys are just awesome as a team, no matter what the situation is, and nobody looks at each other and starts pointing fingers. So there's a lot to be said for your leadership as seniors. I wish you well in whatever career you choose to go through in life, and I hope everything works out. Real quick, we ready? Bremen Blue Devils, right? We ready for them Friday night? You guys been watching the film, practicing, getting ready for them, right?
Yes,
any comments before we go on Friday night, or just leave it there? We better leave it there. Right? We'll leave it up to Coach, okay?
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for taking your time coming out here and being with our viewers out there. Coach, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break, just a couple minutes here, and we're going to get 2 more. We're going to get Chayton Schaefer, the safety, in here, and Cannon Hempel, the wide receiver and linebacker. They'll be in here joining us for the second half. As soon as we come back from these messages, we want to thank Domino's Pizza, Pepsi, and Circuit World. Take us a break, Luther.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellijay, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World.
Model year end clearance rolls on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, and the discounts on 2018 Chevys are huge. Forget MSRP on America's pickup truck. Save over $13,000 off Silverado Crew Cab LT. Forget MSRP on America's muscle car. Save over $7,000 off Camaro. The model year end discounts are huge, but the 2018 Chevys are going fast. Hurry to Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Yes, folks, I do know that's Chayton Schaefer, the safety. I know that, okay? This time, I studied on the way up here. I said, he's going to show up tonight, and I'm not going to do this young man wrong. And I've watched you all so many games, and I want to apologize to you on this camera for the last time you were here for me getting it wrong so many times, sir. I'm your host, BKP. We are at Circuit World here in Blairsville, and we want to thank Domino's Pizza and Pepsi for the drinks, all of our Team FYN sponsors, and don't forget you can follow us on Friday night at Team FYN Sports on Twitter and Instagram, and find our Facebook page. We're here with head coach Brian Allison, and we also have Cannon Hempel. I got that correct, right? Number 4, wide receiver and linebacker, and we're talking to a couple seniors tonight. Coach, before we get started with these guys, we talked about last week's game at Raven. Share with our viewers, Bremen Blue Devils are coming to Union Friday night. They're a 3 seed. Are they in the Region 5? Is it Region?
I think it's Region 5.
Yeah, I think they're three seed out of Region 5. You're a 2 out of Region 8. Talk about what you're going to see Friday night out of this team. Good football team.
They're a really good football team. Earlier in the year, the first game of the year, matter of fact, they beat Raven 13-10. I think Raven's a little different football team now than they were then, and I'm sure Bremen is different as well. They're a solid football team. They're a heavy senior football team. I think maybe 30 seniors. They have a little bit of. They have some speed. They have size. Quarterback is a good leader and manages that offense really well. So I think they're a pretty complete football team, and we're excited about the opportunity to play them in the first round and have a chance to win Game 10. If we can go out and play and reduce our mistakes and our turnovers, and I think our guys are excited to play.
Well, let's talk, and we're talking to these guys here about their 4 years experience. Both of you play 4 years on the team. We're going to talk to them about that in a minute. We want to let Coach handle some of the discussion on the upcoming game. Now, we talked earlier about Raven, that game, and we talked about that punt. When you got home Friday night and you got these guys together starting this week, how'd you get that out of their head, get focused on this week, and say that's over? What were some of the things you guys talked about as a team after that game?
Well, we didn't talk about it until today. before practice, and we said we don't want. I said they didn't. I said we don't want Raven to beat us twice, so we got to get over that. And one of our goals is to win a playoff game, and if we're going to win a playoff game, we can't dwell on getting beat by Raven. It is what it is. That particular night they were better than us, and we'll move on. It's just like life. You can't continue to dwell on the negative. You got to dwell on the next play. You got to dwell on the next day, the next game, whatever it is. So that's kind of what we talked about.
Yeah, if you don't get rid of that right now, you don't want that same team beating you twice, once on the field and once in your head, right?
That's right.
Get rid of it. Guys, you've both been on the team. You were here earlier. You know what we were talking about to the guys earlier in the first segment. You've been on the team for 4 years. Talk about the experience for the last 4 years, maybe some of the players you played with throughout your career on this team, and just some of the highlights in the last 4 years. Go. I don't care who goes first.
Yeah, the experience has been good. Just the players that I've been with since I was 8 years old. You know, Jackson and P and John and Colson. You know, they've been my best friends since we were little, and it just doesn't seem that there'd be any other way to end out the season with a win.
How about yourself? Do you have something you want to share with us about the last 4 years?
Yeah, it's a lot of what he said. It's just who you play with and who you've been around your whole life, and then getting to actually play on Friday nights with them. We've had a lot of exciting games. That's been the best part, just playing with them.
I know Friday night. I know Friday night can be emotional at home, playing the last game, because you get another one if you win, you get another home game, or then you may have to go on the road. Depends on who wins. So it could be possibly the last time playing up, even with a win. Mm-hmm. Could be possibly even with a win up there. What about that thought of being on that field for the last time after 4 years? All you guys that's played 4 years. Because the one thing that I enjoy when I get to come up here on Monday and spend time with you is that's what everybody that comes out says. Hey, you know, we played together since we were 8. We've known each other since we played rec ball. What about that feeling when the last time you get to play on that field up there for the Union Panthers?
I remember one of the first times, back going to high school games, when they had this little fence outside in front of the stands where they had the new stands, and it was just a grass field. I remember going to turf and everything, and now that it's almost gone, I'll never get to play there again. It's just weird. It makes you think next year I'll have to buy a ticket to get into the game, or stand on the sidelines and not ever get to dress out. Maybe wear a headset or something like RJ if I'm lucky. So it's crazy coming to an end. We definitely felt it senior night. I didn't really kick in that it was my senior year, and it was almost over until then. But now I'm really feeling it for all the games.
Well, I like the way you put that, because I do when I come up Friday night. I see all and that at one time was you guys. I see all the young guys. They get up there. They're 9, 10, 11 years old. And they're throwing a football on the sideline at each other and horsing around and playing, and they're looking at the big field thinking that one day I'm going to be out there. So you're reminiscing, thinking you remember being out there watching that field, saying, I'm going to play one day, and senior night, it comes to you, this is it. How about yourself, Chayton?
Yeah, like Cannon said, it's just unreal. I mean, I grew up on the sidelines. Me and Pearson were ball boys since we were little, and just around the team ever since then, and it's just crazy how it's going to end.
Well, this may be the last home game. We don't know yet. Could be another. So let's not go down that road too far. But I do want to ask you the same thing. Anybody got a story in the last 4 years you want to share? I know there's one. I know you guys go out of here and you say, should I have told this or said that?
More than one.
More than one. Say, go ahead. I know it.
I don't know, just a lot of locker room pranks, really. They're all kind of about the same, but mouthpieces, this and that, Can't say too much.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Can't say too much. Coach, what about, maybe Coach can you say anything about locker room pranks?
Well, what they all want to say is about 2 years ago, we're in the locker room at halftime, and Dawson hits me and about knocks me out. We chest bump or he runs into me, whatever you want to call it. That's what they all wanted to say, right? Yeah, go ahead. And so even those 3 that came before, they'd like to have said that. But, it's the same thing. I've seen these guys grow up. I've seen them play rec ball. I've seen them play rec basketball, rec baseball, rec football, and they're also very successful in those sports. And it's just for me, it's a little bit harder with this group because I have known them so well for so long. It's it's a little bit of a different situation than some of the seniors. But they're a great group. That they've actually tied a school record with number of wins. I think we've got 3 different senior groups that have won 32 ball games, and this group wants to get to 33, and this group wants to win a playoff game. And this group set a school record with 11 wins in a row. This group has done some phenomenal things that I don't know if that was projected out of them after losing Cole Wright and RJ and it's funny. Cannon played on an older group in rec ball than Chayton did, and then now once we're able to combine them, these teams were really good. And I know Cannon's rec ball team was really good. Chayton's was okay. And just because I know Pearson was on that one, and then you combine these 2 teams that became one, and they've gelled together and worked together, and it's amazing to watch.
Didn't you tell me a couple of weeks ago that these guys set goals?
They did. That's one of the goals was, 9 wins minimum, win a playoff game, and we've hit the 9 win. We've done a lot of things. We want to try to win that playoff game.
I will always have something that ties me to this team with a story. Cole Wright ran me over. First time in all the years I was on the sideline, he squared me up and ran me flat over. And then I don't find out till last week, the coach from Wisconsin, what's the coach that you got? Oh, you just finding out he's from Wisconsin?
McBride. McBride. Yeah, he played it. I think he played at some small school in Wisconsin.
But he said, "Are you the guy Cole Wright ran him?" We watched that like 7 times. I said, "Thanks a lot." So Cole squared me up. Guys, ready for Friday night against Bremen? Ready? Been watching some film? Coach, I want to ask you something, and before we close, and I want to go to you because this is our last show. This year, you crossed the 100 win mark. Did you cross that mark?
That's right, 100 at Union.
100 at Union. Talk about that, because I kind of get the impression you don't slow down enough to reflect on some things like that sometimes. I really do. You just go to the next thing and you're ready to go with football. Can you reflect on that a little bit, your 100th win this year?
No, I think it's really cool to win 100 at a place that I played at. And these guys have, I think this is year 17 here or something like that. So it's very special because, like I told these guys, there's no high school locker room I'd rather be in than the one at Union County. And I bleed purple and gold, and I know what these guys have gone through. I walk some of the same steps that they're walking, and they're going to walk some of the same steps that I've walked, and I played on the same field, and it's just very special to be able to win 100, and with this group, with these guys that I've seen grow up, and it's just really cool.
There's a big difference in having a career number of wins, especially when you're standing on a sideline that you played for. Is that
no
it?
doubt?
Huh?
No doubt.
And when you get to talk to these guys in the locker room, you get to convey that one more thing in coaching, that I've been right here. Mm-hmm. I know where you're at. I know the fan base up there. I know what you're doing tonight. I wore the uniform.
Right.
And that's a pretty big difference when you're coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I appreciate you very much. Tell us just one more before we leave. Bremen, what kind of offense, what kind of defense we're going to see Friday night, the fans?
They're very multiple on offense. They'll go from a 2 backs, 1 tight end to no backs, no tight ends. They will a little bit more simple on defense, or a 3-3 stack man team, and special teams wise are very solid.
Guys, I know you were over there and you heard the same thing. I told the guys, but I do want to get an opportunity to briefly tell you myself why I have you there. The other night at Raven, when, as Coach talked earlier, that punt put you guys on the 1 yard line, and as like Coach said, then you were trying to make some things happen. I want to tell you how much respect I have for the fact that no one on the sideline turned against anybody, pointed fingers. There was no bad attitude on the sideline. You're all right. There's no bad attitude on the sideline. That was big for me. I mean, for me, is to see how you guys handled that and you didn't mistreat each other. Also, I want to say before we go, I wish you well in whatever you choose to do further in future in your life and career and college and whatever you plan to do. Just be the best at it. I don't care what it is. Just work to be the best at it. And thank you so much for taking your time to be here. Folks, this is our last Panther Playback show of the season, and that is his phone ringing. And yes, we do tell them right before the show. I just got to say it right there, please turn your phone. Yeah, that's him. All right.
Well, we think it's his brother doing it on purpose.
Okay,
so,
well, maybe his brother's doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
okay,
I think so.
We can deal with that. Again, I am BKP Luther Kinsey here, head football coach Brian Allison. You come out, support the Panthers, 7:30 at home, Friday night kickoff. Bremen Blue Devils coming to town. Playoff game, folks, and these seniors want you to come out and watch them play Friday night. Thank you, Circuit World, this year, Domino's Pizza, Pepsi, all of our sponsors, and don't forget, Team FYN Sports, always highlighting and promoting young athletes in a positive way. I'm BKP, Luther, we're out. Thank you, Coach.